Car manufacturers often claim that the design elements shown on concept vehicles will filter down to production models. But mostly, those elements are simply watered down. Not so the Lexus IS350. Styling cues taken from the LFCC and LFLC concept cars abound, and in a segment where the latest generation looks very much like the last, the IS is unmistakably a new model.
Now we all know the producer of Cocoon Cruising is also able to create and manufacture the hottest of powerful super butterflies with their LFA. But the question remains, is Lexus able to translate all of that information, all that knowledge into more attainable, more affordable modes of transport for people like us, lesser mortals? They gave us a taste of it when they brought the ISF to market. But the funny thing, is that in the super competitive sports sedan segment, it's actually not all about performance.
At 5.9 seconds, the IS350's 0 to 100 time falls just short of its German counterparts, but the real difference is in the power delivery. Without turbos, the Lexus revs higher, creating a more visceral driving experience.
I want to start talking about something you don't normally talk about when you're in a Lexus: styling. They've always been pretty bland, playing it safe, not turning any heads. We've seen that change coming through the GS and LS, and obviously now we have it in the IS. Let me tell you, it is one of the hottest cars to look at on the road at the moment, for me anyway. I know a lot of people are saying the front end is a tad busy. I love it, especially when we sit in the F-Sport model like we in now, where it's got a way bigger air intake grille at the bottom. There's just so many angles and hard edges on it that you can't help but notice it. It's aggressive, it's in your face. They've also brought out some unique new technology. They call it their L-shaped LED daytime running lights. No, not really L-shaped. It's more like the Nike swoosh. Woof, they have done it and it looks flippin' cool. Even when you look down the side of the car, they've got this really hardcore shoulder line that gives a side presence. And then right through the rear is a very beautiful line that comes from right at the bottom sill, right through the rear and off the lights into the rear spoiler. Beautiful details. For me though, as a driver, I don't get to notice the styling once I'm inside the car, but one thing you do notice, look in your side mirrors and you notice these flared rear wheel arches. This was designed specifically so that they could get their 17-inch, or like what we're driving now in the F-Sport, 18-inch wheels to really fill those wheel arches, and it gives it purpose. Love it. Let's talk about things that we do know when we talk Lexus, and that's obviously build quality and comfort and fit and finish. It's all still there. I'll tell you what, you slip into these seats and they do something different with their seats as well. Usually it's a foam mold and then they put the leather onto it and try and get those two bonded. Not Lexus. They actually take the mold, put the leather into it and then squeeze the foam into it. So there is no join. It's one cocoon that is massaging you and putting you into a really comfortable driving position. It is a bigger car. They've increased the wheelbase by 70 mils. Most of that 70 mil that they've gone and found is actually given to you in the back. They talk about their L-Finesse design philosophy, and it's really about human orientation, and they've tried to bring that through into their dash as well with a split level dash. So the top level is all about display and the bottom level is all about instrumentation, actually touching and doing what you need to do. I don't know if everyone's going to like it. They say it's driver focused. Well, I don't think so, because you kind of have the center console in the center and everything else is where I need it to be. It's not like everything's tilted towards me. But nonetheless, I think maybe the interior, the dash configuration might not be everyone's cup of tea. A couple of nice new things. They've got these awesome little touch buttons on the climate control, so you don't have any dials you've got to push. They've also got their second generation interface system. They've now made sure that that touch interface sits at the exact same level as the armrest. You'll also notice their LFA inspired 3-spoke steering wheel, and the first time ever they've actually gone and integrated their infotainment system onto the steering, so it really is at your fingertips as a driver. The driver, that's probably what you really want to know about, because you see they set themselves a pretty hectic target. You know what they said? They want to make this the most fun sports sedan to drive ever. Pretty bold statement. So what have they done to achieve that? 3.5 litre V6 engine, which we drove and really enjoyed on the old IS. you're going to notice kilowatts and torque down ever so slightly. We're talking 5 kilowatts down, like 2 Newton meters down. Why? Well, they've got to obviously match up to certain European emission standards, so that's why they had to do that. But let's be honest, you're not even going to notice that. The car delivers the power really, really well through the rear-wheel drive system. And for the first time, they're now running that 8-speed sports shift that we got to enjoy on the ISF. So it is very, very easy and quick on the gear change. One thing that is really nice, it sounds quite technical, they talk about a G-force monitor on this whole gearing system. Basically, they've got little sensors that control the yaw, so in other words, how the car pitches. What it means to you is if you're pitching the car into the corner in automatic mode, it's not going to then jump up a gear. Terrible. It's going to stick in that gear because it can sense that you're driving this car really hard. It sounds good. Obviously, they're piping sound into the cabin as well. When you're driving it normally, this cabin is so insulated, you don't hear anything, which is great. But when you put your foot down, you slam it into manual mode, you start playing on the pedals, that V6 sonorous note is there. I love the sound of a V6, and this Lexus is a good example of it. For the purist out there, oh man, the IS350 is going to get you excited. Prices start at $450 for the IS. The EX spec goes up to just under 500,000, and then if you go into the F Sport like we in, you're looking at just over 550,000 Rand. Competitively priced, a little bit more than a 335 BMW, but then again, it's a Lexus. You don't have to add anything to it. Everyone knows how much I like the Lexus brand, but when I heard this statement, the most fun sports sedan to drive in the world, even I went, okay, hang on guys, this is like a massive statement to make. Now, I never qualified that in my in-car link. Is the Lexus IS350 this car? I don't know. It's that close that in itself is a massive achievement. Yes, there is all the luxury, all the comfort, all the things you always love about Lexus, but they've somehow managed to develop and infuse this dynamic, sporty look into the styling and certainly into the driving as well. It is all there. It's too close to call. It's there.